I will also tell you that the Leesburg Club followed club number 2600 in Washburn, Maine, Stanley, and was followed by Orleans, Nebraska, club number 2602. Charter night is a time likened to the fitful sleep afforded Scrooge on a Dickinsonian Christmas Eve, that we are summoned to reflect on our past, celebrate the present, and anticipate our future. The Leesburg Club would spawn other clubs, the Percival Club, chartered on June 19, 1984, and the Daybreak Club, chartered on June 30th, 1990, and the Angarsk Siberia Club, chartered in 2007. Of the many accomplishments of this club on an international scale, few exceed the expectations of those of chartering the Angarsk Club in Siberia. Angarsk is described by its Chamber of Commerce as being located on the Trans-Siberian Railway more than 3,000 miles from Moscow, and it is further described, interestingly enough, as the world's nuclear fuel center. Bob Noe went there, and Bob's not here tonight, is Bob? No, he's not here tonight. I was going to say, he does glow after he came back to Angarsk.
That's right.
And he's sort of our own nuclear fuel rod, embarked on a mission to Angarsk to carry the spirit of Rotary to Siberia. And those of you who were members of the club at the time would know that he was inspired by visitors to this club from that little-known place in the Siberian outback, and encouraged by a never-ending visionary shaggy dog narrative by club members in anticipation of Bob's departure, and he becomes known as Babushka Bob, based on the photographs that we received back from Siberia. But like Mr. Richards before him, he carried to others the spirit of Rotary. So it is that we celebrate our birthday and fondly remember those that brought us into being. Without the founding of Rotary by Paul Harris, there would be no Warrenton Club. Without there having been a Warrenton Club, there would be no Leesburg Club, unless someone can figure out whether there was a Leesburg Club before a Warrenton Club, or as in the law we say there's renvoi, which means that you're sort of looking back and forth at each other. And without the Leesburg Club, there would be no Percival, Daybreak, or Angarsk clubs. Now I want to spend just one tiny moment to put all of this in historical perspective. The Warrenton Club is located on State Route 17. For many years, the Warrenton Club met at Ben & Jerry's Steakhouse, which is located on Route 17, between Warrenton and Old Tavern. And those of you who know where Old Tavern is across from Great Meadow Park, where they have Gold Cutter races. That's actually Old Tavern. Route 17 runs through the Crooked Run Valley. In the valley, you will encounter such places as Hicks Graveyard, Avoca, Mount Bleak, Grisbyville, and The Hollow. Now this is getting to sound like a shaggy dog story, and I know that, but I'm getting somewhere, and I'm going to try to get this to you as best I can. The Hollow was the home of one Thomas Marshall. It was built sometime around 1764 on the western base of none other than Naked Mountain. Thomas Marshall later built a place called Oak Hill, a short distance to the east, in 1775. Oak Hill would become the home of Thomas's son, John. John, some of you are getting the idea, is a pretty famous guy. He would become the third Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. And not only was he the third Chief Justice of the Supreme Supreme Court of the United States. He's probably the greatest jurist that this hemisphere has ever known and may ever know. A brilliant jurist. Therefore, I submit, we can boast that on this our birthday, we have two marshals inextricably intertwined with the history of the club. John, who lived where our founding club had its roots, if one of you can solve that problem, and George C. Marshall, one of the greatest statesmen of the modern era and a member of the club. Now, before I get into the humorous part of this evening, because I know that I have to add some humor to this, I am going to move ahead because we have a number of people who are going to be making presentations to you, and the first is going to be Ernie. But, pardon?
Ron.
Oh, he's not going to do the song?
Oh, later.
What song?
The song. Okay, well then I'll save that until the end, and I'll move forward, take this and move it over here.
That's the humor part.
Oh, wait, Ernie has a great song, and I hope all of you are familiar with it. It's in the tradition of his wonderful heritage, Italian heritage.
That's right.
And I have selected that for him
Thank
to
you.
sing tonight. So, and it's not O Sole Mio either. But we'll get to that. The first person then is Ron. You're going to talk about club formation and founders. So I will turn the program over to you.
I won't touch the papers behind the podium. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to try and advance slides and talk at the same time, and I'm going to be very brief. My job tonight was to talk about the founders of the Rotary Club of Leesburg. Before I do that, I want to thank Dan Malone and Tom Horn, though. Dan Malone being a previous member, and during Tom's year as president, he tasked Dan with developing the Rotary history, which he did. And it really formed the foundation for a lot of the comments that are going to be flowing from this evening. So first of all, thank you, Tom, for that vision, and Dan, wherever you are, for actually putting it together. Well, my information is the Rotary Club of Leesburg was launched on April 15th, 1927. So, and it was sponsored by Warrenton, and 250 Rotarians and guests attended a banquet at the Leesburg High School to kick it off. And this was a picture up on the screen of the 23 founding members. The first president was E.L. McFarland. The vice president was David McDonald. The secretary was John Whitney, and the treasurer was J.S. Whitmore. Dan Malone's history says the first actual meeting was held April 27, 1927. Initially, meetings were held at lunchtime, but on August 22nd, 1934, the members voted to meet at 6:30 each Thursday evening. And so here we are, 78 years later, still meeting on Thursday evenings, as determined back in April. Back in 1963, again, according to Dan Malone, of the original members, hold the phone, of the original members, whoops.
That was one.
There's the charter. Of the original members, which is, the charter is over there, for those of you who want to get close to it and have a picture taken with it. There were still 9 in the club in 1963. Coleman Gore, Stilson Hall, Wilbur Hall, J. Terry Hurst, H.C. Littlejohn, Bruce McIntosh, Niels Nielsen, and Lloyd Slack were the members still there in 1963. Now, Niels Nielsen, one of the charter members, still had in 1963 100% attendance record himself.
Oh, wow.
The history goes on to say the prime interest of the Leesburg Rotary Club was the youth of the community, as many Rotary clubs at the time had latched onto that as a mission. The history says, however, as we sponsor an achievement program at the grade school and homecoming program for the local high school. This achievement program is based on the child that shows the most achievement in his class each year and carries with it a certificate plus a cash prize, one for each of the rooms in the grade school. The homecoming program consisted of a gala weekend affair with quite a bit of fanfare, including parades, halftime ceremonies, and a dance for the children afterwards. And part of the, as you all know, as Rotarians, part of the fun of being in Rotary is getting together as a group. And I have a couple pictures of Rotary groups. This is the Rotary Club of Leesburg. Last year or 2 years ago at Arlington Cemetery when we did wreath laying down there along with our Interact Club. A number of years ago, this group got together again on the courthouse steps. Does anybody recall the year of that? It must be, yes, it must be 75. 75 years, 75th anniversary. They got together on the courthouse steps and had a picture taken. From time to time, Rotarians like to cut up a little bit, and I found a picture of Rotarians celebrating Dean Wooster's becoming a judge. And the group got into costume and had some fun. And then last but not least, I thought I should mention Ilhami Kunur. He's one of our Rotarians, categorized as an honorary Rotarian now. And he and Ann are out in Eagle Butte, South Dakota, having put together a school for Native American kids of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. They're in their 4th year. They have 40 students. I talked with Ilhami today, and he said to please be sure and say hello from he and Ann. So, Tom, that's my background on the founding of the club with a few photos and
Great job.
a crazy story of judges.
Great job. Thank you, Ron. All right. One commentator has opined that civilization has many things backwards. He'd like things better if we had clothes that wrinkled in faces that didn't. And that's good.
Oh, Stanley playing croquet, I think.
We're all excited because
Stan, keep loud and beautiful calling. I'd like for you to wear
Well.
long pants.
That's before he got his tan.
well, I think that Stanley, that's you, right?
That was really something.
Well, then I think we need to come up here and talk about the old hotel. And while Stanley's making his way up here, I would say that the first place that I had occasion to practice law was in a courtroom in the old hotel, which was in the lobby that had been converted, and the Board of Supervisors met in the dining room. And, I was sort of a late comer to the hotel. Stanley will tell you all about early days in the hotel. Stanley? And you might tell him about croquet, too.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, sir.
I can't tell you everything about the old hotel because he'll have me in before we're in jail, you know. Most of the founding fathers of this club I knew by name. If you put the picture up there and you don't want to go through it, but I can point them out and call them by name. This is, to the older folks, they recognize it. To the new folks, they say, what's that? And where one of the county court buildings is now is where the old hotel stood. And in this corner of the hotel was the Rotary Room. The hotel dedicated a whole room to this Rotary Club. And every member of the club had their picture on a wall. So everybody was known. And what they got to do with me, well, I was a guess, I don't remember, 14 years old. Got my first Social Security card in 1938. I was the bellhop in this old hotel. And I got paid $3 a week. They took out 3 cents for withholding tax or something like that. But my job was, in those days, you had to buy your meal ticket, and between dinner and dessert, it was my job to collect the meal tickets. So I would go around and ticket. Always one or two guys that seemed to be a little late about picking them up, and I had to go make change so they could get their ticket. But the old hotel had this room called the Rotary Room. There are many fine old stories about that old hotel. In this bay window right here, November the 30th, 1941, I waited on the Japanese embassy. They were there a week before Pearl Harbor. That's just a little sidebar sort of thing, you know, and I can't talk like that because I get all busted up. Never mind.